Hey there guys, it's Metro, and we're finally getting to a video a lot of people have been asking about, and that is more weak aura videos for the new alts that I've been playing since I made the previous one in 7.1 on my Death Knight. So we're going to start with the Monk Brewmaster tank, which I've been streaming a lot of. A lot of people have been seeing the weak aura UI setup and have been asking questions, of course. So it's a lot of, once again, stock right from a guy named Redfella. But it's a little bit different than the DK's one this time around, as I've kind of tweaked a few of them and also incorporated, kind of like overlaid a couple of them in different ways and made some small changes. So also it should be noted that these are, like, most of them are actually very old. I think he's updated almost all of them, but I didn't actually like the way that they changed. Well, more specifically, I got comfortable to the previous way. So when I saw that not only did he update them, but he changed the way they function and look, I decided to just stick with the old ones and make some small edits. So once again, we'll start with the non-specific stuff. And we still have the CC tracker. Now I'm making a presumption here, which is probably foolish, but hopefully you guys saw the DK one that I made a long time ago. You probably didn't, but I go into way more detail on some of these in that video. Regardless, this is the CC tracker that I'll use for 5-mans. It's harder to see nowadays since I have my webcam up there. It's more for my purpose, but regardless, it'll show any Blood Elves and any type of hard CC that the group has. So it should be out of the box working for that. It's set to only work in dungeons, which is, you know, my preference. It's quite a heavy weak aura. It's quite large, so you can do it in raids, but yeah, there would be quite a long list, and you don't really need a lot of those things in raids. Then we have the, let's see what it's called. Yeah, we have this as well. Another thing that most people don't see anymore because I put the webcam up there, but regardless, a lot of people have asked what is the thing that's showing the marks on the bar for Mythic Plus. This will show you the timer. Okay, show you 2 chests, 3 chests, and of course no chest has a little bar denoting when and where that happens. So that's something to keep in mind if you don't want to use one of those add-ons. I much prefer to use weak auras for stuff like that, so I just found that. So anyway, that's all the non-specific stuff. We have our typical potion CD here. That's pretty clunky, but it works for me. It's set up only for monks, and it's of course just a icon of the pot there, but it will work for any potion, of course, because it's tracking the cooldown of the actual potion, which is universal. So I mainly am using I'm not mainly using Old War right now. I'm using Prolonged Power a lot in 5-man since I'm still under geared. Save a little bit of money, and it will still cycle, and it will show, you know, the CD properly. So those will be downstairs. And then I also recently got Kil'jaeden's Burning Wish. So it's basically a copy paste from the CD of the potion just over for the actual item as well. And the only real difference there is, of course, changing it to equipment slot and cooldown progression of equipment slot instead of item. So, okay, now we'll get on to actual monk tanking stuff. Now, we're going to start with this here, okay? This is Monk. The Redfella's Brewmaster rotation. This is one that I got in WoD, as you might see in some of them. They're quite old, like I said. But this is one that I got in WoD, and up until very recently I was using this exclusively. But then I just switched talents, and I noticed that I guess he just didn't, I don't know, he didn't put that option into the rotation tracker. So when I was using Chi Wave instead of Chi Burst, it was bugging out intensely. In fact, some of you guys might have seen that live stream. Yeah, it was quite a pain. So I had to figure that out. I had to delete all that. And effectively what I've done here is delete the entire rotation tracker. But I've kept 2 things from the previous iteration. That's it, okay? I've kept this Iron Skin progression bar, which I really like. I just like visually. It's not even that, like, it's really nothing impressive, but it's actually a really nice visual, so I've just kept that. I like having that box around the actual rotation tower. Mage tower is up. God damn it. I like having that box around the actual rotation icon. And then next to it, I have the interrupt. Now, once again, this is an older iteration of the interrupt. If you download his new package, it will have changed. Lots of stuff has changed with it, but the interrupt is, of course, a little bit different. So I've kept that as well. Okay, And let's see where the new, where's the new one? But anyway, that's in conjunction with the new one. We got to find that first. Yeah, here we go. Here's the new one. Okay, so the new one doesn't have the two things that I just mentioned, essentially. So I cut out whatever it was tracking the brew and the interrupt on this one and used the stuff that was here, okay? So this is the full rotation, all right, rotation 2. That's the full rotation part. He's got some fancy little icons for fortifying brew and Zen meditation, which they're useful for sure. So that's awesome. And then this purifier thing, in his weak core, he says he has it off by default. I think I've turned it on. Let's just make sure. Yeah, I've turned it on, and I don't know if it's even working. I'm not really sure how it's working, but in the previous iteration, it used to try to recommend when to use, like when to purify. So I kept it because I assumed it worked as the previous iteration did, but frankly, I haven't noticed if it's actually doing anything. So if it's not working out for you guys, you can just turn it off, I suppose. But anyway, let's go now to this. This is the Brewmaster HUD, all right, heads up display, that stands for. A lot of people don't know that, but anyway, this is a very handy thing. This is basically all I really wanted. The rotation thing is neat, but I didn't actually want that when I first started looking out for weak ores. This is something I like to have on every tune that I use weak ores on heavily, a heads up display, and it will effectively show what I can discern to be everything that's important. As you can see there's all kinds of stuff. The one thing that you're going to see in the middle is the elusive, I think it's elusive brawler. That's the mastery. The icon in the middle there, it's kind of glowing. It looks like a monk's face. That I'm pretty sure that's the mastery. Okay, but the reason I'm bringing it up is because it will reach a critical stage where you have, like, I think probably 100% chance to dodge, and it will start glowing. So that glow effect won't be there. It'll show you how many stacks you have as you're accruing the stacks. Okay, and then once you get, I think it's like 4 or 5 stacks, it'll glow, telling you that you now have 100% chance to dodge. That could be incredibly useful in a raid, in a 5-man, which is exclusively what I do in this character. It's, and not really getting me anywhere, but regardless, that's there. I have changed a few things as well. I think to this, did I add? Yeah, I added these things, okay. Out of the box, Explosive Keg and Rushing Jade Wind were not included, okay. I added these things. I don't really know why they weren't included, frankly. I guess probably because this was made in Warlords of Draenor, actually, yeah. So anyway, they weren't included. Now, like I said, the new one very likely does have it, but I'm sticking with the old one. So if you're interested in copying exactly what I have, you'll have that. And that's that. So, but I don't actually have it. I didn't set it up too serious. So if you don't take Rushing Jade Wind, this will probably, I think this will still appear, right? Because I haven't set it so talent selected, Rushing Jade Wind, all that. So yeah, you'll have to change that if you're not using Rushing Jade Wind. I know a lot of people are preferring the keg, the special delivery thing. So that's cool. But anyway, yeah, so that's the whole thing there. I also changed, Chi Burst. It still says Chi Burst. His original one was Chi Burst, like I said, but I changed it to Chi Wave at one point. I like the functionality of it a little bit better. Chi Burst was really cool, but I kind of prefer Chi Wave now, so I didn't bother changing the title of it. I just changed the actual ability to Chi Wave. So that's that icon there. So that might be different for you guys too. You'll have to be careful. And if you want to change it back to Chi Burst, same deal. You can just change this all to change that, and then the display, of course, to the icon that you wanted to, and the trigger, of course, to the spell that you wanted to track. So very easy copy paste stuff. Now let's see what else do we still have here. Yeah, this is not necessarily the most useful, but the one thing I made sure to add was the dance. I don't know if that was out of the box, honestly. I think I might have added that. But regardless, elusive dance is one of the most important things that I like to track on my Brewmaster monk, because it's a DPS increase, and if I'm doing dungeons, I'm trying to maximize my damage. A lot of people are not taking this talent, so if this does not apply to you, don't even bother. It's instead of blackout strikes or whatever that final tier talent, the blackout strike one. That one I know a lot of people are in love with, but I simply don't like it, and I really like elusive dance. So anyway, I'm taking that and I'm tracking it. It just shows every time you use it, and it's effectively, it doesn't show anything else. Ideally, I would have added a like a percentage, how much percentage we actually got, but it doesn't really matter because you can't actually control that, you know what I mean? You have no real reason to see that. The only thing I guess maybe would be important was to not override it. I don't know how that would work, but say you cleared the max stagger, you have the max increase, and then you overrode it with a smaller one. That would be bad, I suppose, but Regardless, don't override it. All right, easy mode. But it also shows all kinds of stuff. Now you're gonna see it goes all the way off the screen here. But yeah, it's never actually gonna get down that far. Okay, you're never gonna have all these things, and a lot of these things, once again, are from expansions long past, like the 4 mirror images. That's from you're not gonna be using that stuff anymore. So this might be one that's worth an update. I haven't actually looked into it, but I frankly, the only thing I actually care about is seeing when I have Bloodlust and seeing when I have the Elusive Dance. So that's that. And then one other thing I think we have, is the CD filter here. This is once again not very useful for anything really, but I like to have this on the screen. These are the two things I always like to have. I like to see when my CDs are available, and I like to see my full heads-up display. So once again, you'll see Draenor potions there. That shouldn't matter. They're the same. They have the same ICD or whatever you would consider it. The same internal cooldown for using any type of potion at all. So even though it's going to show the icon, I believe it would still, maybe it actually wouldn't. It might not actually come up at all. But regardless, that's not why I use it. I use it to see when leg sweep. That's the big thing. When leg sweep comes off CD, that's the thing I look at the most. And even taunt as well. Taunt has actually been incredibly useful. Spearhand Strike is actually not that needed in that one, because Spearhand Strike appears in the actual rotation portion that I showed you guys before. But leg sweep and to some degree fortifying brew, those are the two things that I actually take a look at. Or what's it called? Yeah, fortifying brew. Those are the two big things. So if you're interested in that, that'll be there too. But anyway, all of this stuff is going to be in the description, guys. I'm fairly certain I got everything, but if you see something that I missed, or you want a little bit more explanation on something, please let me know. Weak Auras is a great add-on, but it of course can get very complicated. So if you are going to copy these things, I would recommend, unless you know what you're doing, not really changing much, especially on that rotation tracker. That's something that I just don't even understand how it functions, and I'm happy that the dude made it, because there's no chance I'd ever be able to make it. But it works pretty well, and it's great. Something like that is great for alts, because you can kind of just follow somebody else's recommendations. So yeah, that's not bad at all. But anyway, if something doesn't work, it's probably because I have in the load situation something specific to me. Okay, it's unlikely in these sets. I had it on my DK and somebody noticed it, but I think most of this is set up for any monk. But for example, player name, okay, and realm, these things occasionally might be set in a way that you might not get something out of it, but it doesn't seem that way. So anyway, that's it. If you guys have any questions, let me know. Otherwise, we'll see you guys in the next video.